everybody, and welcome. We are doing a Twillow Fusion series section today. It's all about your health questions. So I do want to preface this by saying that we are not giving you medical advice. This should not be considered anything in terms of that. So please make sure that you consult your doctor. Okay, so that is really important. We're just going to talk about things that help support your physical health today. That is what we're doing. Okay, so welcome everyone. I am Tanis Coughlin from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I am super excited to be doing this series, the Twillow Fusion series, with some of the teachers who I am very honored to be part of this group with. And so I would really like them to introduce themselves so that you can get to know them and know, like, and trust. Okay, so I am Tanis, and I am the Reiki Master, Crystal Master, Celtic Shamanic High Priestess, Galactic Ambassador, and other stuff. Okay, so welcome, and let's hear from Jacqueline. Jacqueline, can you please introduce yourself?
So excited to be here. I'm Jacqueline Richards, CEO of The Wealthy Yogini and author of Yoga for Your Personal Finances. I get to teach chair yoga with Tanis and anyone who's thinking that is what they'd really like to do in order to loosen up or unloosen their hips, their shoulders, and really think about what it feels like in their body. So happy to be here.
Awesome. It's great to have you, Jacqueline. Thank you. And now let's hear from Dr. Karen Stillman.
Thank you so much, Tanis. I'm Karen Stillman. I am the CEO and founder of the Universal Wellbeing Institute, where I get to help amazing, busy professional women who have seemingly unsurmountable conditions, diagnosis, something going on in their life that they would love to defy those odds and have the health and well-being that they would love, primarily working with women who are struggling with their fertility to defy those odds and have their baby. And I'm just so delighted to be here with you.
It's great to have you too, Karen. Thank you so much for being here. And Ruth.
Hi, I'm another teacher at the Twillow Lifestyle Academy. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. And I'm a holistic detoxifier. And that's just a fancy term for someone who uses a variety of supportive practices and modalities to empower my clients to manage their energy and to find more natural solutions to their everyday life and to help them clear away or detoxify their lives from whatever is holding them back. Some of my modalities and practices, I'm a Reiki master practitioner, crystal light and intuitive energy healer, and I'm an aromatherapy specialist. And I love creating customized or bespoke essential oil blends for my clients to teach them to create their own blends to raise their vibration and help them fulfill their potential by overcoming their obstacles.
And, beautiful.
That's me.
Awesome. So good to have you. Thank you. And Gary.
Hi, I'm Gary Chatham. I'm a transformational life coach. I have a master's in counseling, and I focus on mind, body, spirit wellness, and I help others create the life they desire through deep transformation, the healing of emotional trauma and negative patterns, which also helps alleviate symptoms of autoimmune disease and other physical diseases. I'm an intuitive life coach as well, and an energy worker, a Reiki master. I'm certified in flower remedies and homeopathy. So I believe since we exist on physical, emotional, and mental, and energetic, spiritual planes all at the same time, real healing has to address all these dimensions. And I focus a lot with Tanis' school on flower essences. Flower essences are a gentle way to balance emotions, and I teach my clients how to use them, and we work with custom blends for those.
Awesome. So as you can see, thank you for joining us, Gary. And as you can see, we have a beautiful panel here for discussion. So let's start off the discussion by, why don't we share some of our practices that we do for our physical body, because that's kind of what we're here for, right? And the school is all about sort of connecting that mind-body spirit, mind, body, energy, having that holistic approach. So when we tried to decide what we were going to speak about, we couldn't ignore the physical in terms of, addressing how it interacts with the others. And so our approach today is going to be more about how does that physical interact with our energetic body, and how can we support the energy in our vibration through physical practices and healthful practices. So my question for you all is, how do you support your energy, your physical body, and of course they're all connected, so the mental body, but focusing mostly on physical. So what kind of physical properties do you have, or do you foster to get your best health? Shall we start with Karen?
Oh, certainly, Tennis. For the body, I don't just start with the body, I start with the mind. But if you want me to jump ahead, I will work with the body, which the first thing, the most important thing, without a doubt, is your breath. Taking those nice deep inhales in to feel the base of the lungs, the top of the lungs, the front and back. Hold it at the top of that inhale and gently let that air go. When you do it nice and slow on the exhale and pay attention to making it a little bit longer, you will have that rest, digest, create part of your central nervous system turn on, and you'll have that relaxation. You'll notice the shoulders will naturally drop, and if not, when you take the second or third one, the shoulders just want to slide down, like the pointy bits of your shoulders, just like they're going down into the waistband of your pants. And then you can relax that chest up a little bit, tilt the chin down a little bit, let that air flow in nice and easy. And multiple times during the day, taking 3 to 5 nice, beautiful breaths like that, you will be amazed at how much more comfortable your body becomes, how the tension leaves the head, jaw, neck, and shoulders for whatever activities you're doing. It nourishes you all over, and it is just a fantastic way to help move through your day.
So there is a body mechanics function to that, right, Karen?
Yes,
that
absolutely.
When you breathe, the muscles actually release and
Yes.
release the tension, right?
And with that deep breath in, you trigger that vagus nerve, which will help relax the body. So if you know some of the anatomy, know some of the pieces, that's great. And if you don't, trust me, taking those few deep breaths, whether they're seated up, whether you're lying down, whichever way makes and helps you to move that air more easily, is the best way for you, because you can't do it wrong. It's what you can do right now to make it better for you. So just start where you are and keep going. So whether it's in for a count of 3, hold for a count, let it go, and it was still 3, if you can hold it for a count. If you practice that, life is a practice. You don't just brush your teeth once and done. You don't put on clothes once and then you're done. And breathing is the same. It's never a one and done. As long as you're alive, you'll be breathing. So get a chance to practice this. And as you improve that practice, you'll notice that, oh my gosh, I'm at 5 and I can hold it for 2. I mean, when I started my yoga practice and when I did my yoga teacher training in 2016, I was challenged to do that because I had been a decade working with a yoga practice and just noticed there was a catch in my breath. Like it was a inhale in 2 parts. It was a, and now it's a nice smooth in and out, and I can breathe in for 8 to 10 counts. I can hold it for 8. I can exhale for 10 to 12 and hold it out. But that's a 8-year practice. So it's not going to happen overnight, but you start where you are, do what you can with what you have, and you will see some new results.
Now, you mentioned the vagus nerve.
Vagus nerve.
Vagus nerve. That has to do with your fight or flight response.
Yes.
Right?
So when you relax, you're triggering that rest digest part of your nervous system. So that's your parasympathetic. So you move away from that freeze, fight, and flight into, that rest, digest, love, create, where we just can do and be and have and create so much more in our life.
Beautiful. Now, I know, Gary, you've done a lot of work with vagus nerve and trauma stuff. Do you have something that you can add to help people to relax that system a little bit?
Meditation, mindfulness, but also thought stopping. So it's not specifically for the vagus nerve, but being aware of your thoughts and your inner dialogue, how you're judging things. Of course, I'm coming from a mental standpoint, but that's decreasing stress. That's decreasing the physical stress response and catching it early. Saying, wow, is that really what's happening here the way I thought about this before, or is something different happening? And you'll find yourself starting to physically relax. So that's one thing. Flower essences are another thing, which we can get
Mhm.
into a little bit later. But kind of like Karen, I did some research a long time ago looking at mind body health. And we looked at people with chronic fatigue syndrome. And they well, almost all of them remembered having a significant emotional trauma right before the onset of their physical symptoms. So, again, I'm coming from the counselor bias, but it's looking at what emotional things maybe you've buried that are playing out in the body. So, if we catch those early enough, excuse me, I have allergy congestion. We catch those early enough at the stress level, talking about the vagus nerve, before it becomes a big embedded symptom, then that's the way to deal with that.
Awesome. And are there some flower essences that you would recommend for that kind of, like for that nerve specifically, or that system specifically?
5-flower formula, which is also known as Rescue Remedy, is really good, and it's a blend of cherry plum, clematis, impatiens, rock rose, and Star of Bethlehem. Star of Bethlehem is one that works with emotional trauma. It's probably one of my favorite ones. So it could be a current trauma, it could be a past trauma, but working with a blend of flower essences can help you balance a lot of emotions that way.
Now, are there any flower essences, Gary, that you would recommend almost like on a regular basis to help enhance our physical well-being?
Not so much on a regular basis because it's all individualized.
Mhm.
I think coming up with the right blend is a big part of that. But the flower essences are more geared towards emotional, so they can affect our physical health by balancing the emotions. So
Okay.
there's questions you can go through yourself or with a practitioner to look at exactly what you need in the moment. But sometimes just fear. Mimulus is one for fear of a known situation, or aspen is one for fear of unknown situations. Just whatever's coming up for you to deal with the stress in the moment helps work with the physical. And they're used by taking a few drops under the tongue for quickie emergencies, or by putting a few drops in water and taking them out throughout the day, just sipping on them gradually through the day. So flower essences are made to be ingested. You can apply them topically, where essential oils almost always we don't ingest.
Yeah, so that brings us to Ruth. Can you talk to us a little bit about essential oils? I know that we've had numerous conversations about essential oils not to be ingested, and there's an awful lot of information there. So maybe you can unpack that a little bit for us today.
Okay. So, okay, we'll start with the ingestion since it's been brought up.
Yeah,
The
for sure.
reason I know there are some companies that say, oh, yes, our essential oils are so pure and natural that you can put them in water and drink them. And that is not, it's not recommended because oil and water don't mix. And you can stir them up and the oil droplets will still dance on top of the water. So when you drink the essential oils, they will go to the nearest surface. So they will go to the roof of your mouth. They will line your esophagus and um, your trachea, your esophagus, and then it will go and line your organs like your stomach, your liver, your kidneys. Now, your liver and your kidneys are your main detoxifiers, and it just adds stress to those. And we are like 80% water. So, not to mention the mucous membranes that if the essential oils come in contact with the mucous membranes, they can damage the mucous membranes. So essential oil should always, if they're coming in contact with skin or mucous membranes, they should always be diluted in a fatty oil or a carrier. So such as avocado oil, almond oil, olive oil, um, jojoba wax, also known as jojoba oil. Um, it is technically a wax, but it's liquid, so people call it jojoba oil. But if you're going to ingest, um, I would say definitely not in water. And if you want to take a pill with them with a carrier in them, um, talk to somebody who is qualified. Don't just take someone's word for it that um, they're safe, because they can add. I've been hearing more and more of people having kidney failure or kidney problems because they've been ingesting in water or ingesting essential oils unsafely. So,
And you have
um,
you have a few hundred hours here of training in this, right? It's not
yeah,
something that, you know, so when you talk about seeing someone who's qualified, like seeing an essential oil specialist who's registered, is super important, right? When it comes to this kind of
yes,
thing,
yes,
especially if you're
and
going to ingest, right?
yes, yeah. And there are other ways to, like if you're eating your leafy greens and um, there are better ways to maintain your internal health than ingesting essential oils. Essential oils are, they have several chemical components. So you don't take, like, I know it's been recommended in previous years, you don't take bleach and you don't drink bleach. So it's like you don't, yeah, it's the chemical components, whereas food is, they've got your minerals and your vitamins, and they keep you healthier. I don't know if I'm saying this right.
Yeah, and actually, people don't know this, but you're actually a holistic nutritionist as well. So
Yes.
you know what you're talking about when it comes to the food aspect of things as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
awesome. Is
and
there any oil that you would recommend that people use regularly, or is it like the flower essences, like Gary, where you use as needed?
um, I would say just as needed. Like, well, for cleaning, okay, you're kind of inhaling the cleaning products, right? So if you use essential oils in cleaning products, um, that's okay on a daily basis. If you have anxiety or pain, then you can use the essential oils. I work specifically with clients on a one-to-one because a lot of the blends that are out there, um, the dilution isn't always correct. And there are essential oils that can react with the sun. And so, if, say, bergamot, for example, only 2 drops per ounce of carrier, anything above that dilution will cause, if you put it on your skin, it can cause blisters and um, reaction to the sun. So,
Would you say
um,
that's one of the biggest sort of things that's a misconception?
yes,
The dilution rate? Like people
yes, for
don't
sure.
know enough about the dilution rate when it comes to essential oil.
Exactly. And a lot of blends are, when they're diluted, um, they're not, in my opinion, they're not diluted enough. So when you buy from a store or from a company, it's probably a higher dilution than you should be using every day. And what happens when you use a higher dilution is you can open yourself to allergies, to skin irritation, to damaging mucous membranes, etc. So,
Mhm. There's a couple that are you need to be pretty careful with where that's concerned, right? Like
yes,
peppermint. Don't
yes,
put
yeah,
it in your eyes, people. Don't
No.
put it near your eyes.
No.
And
Personal
what should somebody
experience.
do if that happens, Ruth? Because
Well, I mean, and it happens when you're working with essential oils and you kind of, you know, you'll get something in your eye, or there'll just be, and you'll rub your eye and and it's horrible. So what you do, and even if you're having an reaction on your skin, is you take, okay, let's start with the eye first.
Mhm.
So just put a little bit of olive oil, or like a carrier. So, or people will have vegetable oil, I guess, still in their kitchens. Um, but any carrier oil, just put it on a tissue and just, you know, just put it on your eye so that the essential oil will be attracted to that carrier oil. Um, because if you splash water into your eyes, there is a good chance of because oil is repelled by water, the oil will retract into your eye and possibly cause more damage. So
And it
get,
hurts.
yeah, and get as much. We're speaking from personal experience here, right?
Mhm.
So me
Indeed.
too, more than once. You'd think I'd learn, but no. So yeah, so so the oil, the carrier oil will attract the essential oil out, and then when enough of it is gone, then you can splash water, like rinse really well with water. And should the pain or irritation persist, seek medical attention. Um, Also, if at the beginning, like at first I thought I was losing my sight because I was a little blurry, but that's because I put a film of oil on my eye. So
And that
um,
washes out naturally
yes,
with your
yeah,
tears. So
yeah.
beautiful.
And so with the skin, same thing. If you get welts in your skin from essential oils, just slap on coconut oil, olive oil, vegetable oil, again, a carrier, and the welts
Avocado.
will automatically go down, and like within seconds. And again, if it doesn't, then seek medical attention. Oh, and then after you've got the carrier on, then wash it gently with soap and water and pat it dry. Add another layer of um, carrier on it, and it'll just soothe it down. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Good to know. Thank you. And Jacqueline, how about, are there some exercises, you're on mute too, are there some exercises or some stretches that you would recommend, like on a daily basis, for people to help with their physical well-being?
It was great hearing a little bit of what Karen was saying. With the breath, and we take those long, beautiful, deep breaths, and we lift our shoulders and we take them back and we release them down. Maybe you'll allow the arms to come up, and then just relax the shoulders. Whether you have a 90-degree angle on the arms or they came straight up, doesn't really matter, because you're going to take that breath and look up and be so grateful about where you're at. And then you'll release the arms down by your side. And that is, we call it Tadasana, our mountain pose. And when we're in our mountain pose, we can survive anything. The wind comes, the rain comes, the snow comes, but we will stand our ground and be so firmly planted with the soles of our feet. And we allow a slight bend in the knees. And we take another breath and we lift the shoulders, we take them back, drop them down. Maybe we'll allow the arms behind us and interlace the fingers and allow everything simply to let go. Maybe we're in that place where we just need to let go and say it out loud. I let go. We forget to say those sort of things. We don't think it's a right thing to say. I would say 100% let it go. Just like that.
Mhm. Beautiful. So I also wanted to ask you, so for yoga, there's a lot of stuff videos and whatnot online. With the Twillow Lifestyle Academy, we chose to do live classes. Can you please tell us a few advantages of doing it live, as opposed to, just following the yoga videos? Because there's a reason that we decided to do that, right?
Yeah. I'll start with when we went to online, and really it's been out there for longer than we think. But the last 2.5 years, that's really all we could do. And so we have instructors who are teaching online. And as an instructor, but someone who teaches instructors to be able to teach the flow, you come to your client or your whoever's taking your courses, and you're able to, in person, allow your hand to lay on the shoulders, always with request. Can I put my hand on your shoulder so you can release it down? Can you take a slight step forward when we come into our warrior postures? When you come out like this with the arms straight out, arms up, down behind you, balance.
So
In
when we're
person.
doing them live online, the way we do them, it allows you to be able to see, right?
Exactly.
See what they're doing. So because even though we can't necessarily do it on touch the way you described,
Yeah.
doing it live, you can watch the postures, right? To make sure that they're doing it and they're not going to hurt themselves. That's kind of why we decided that, right?
And it's about the little tips.
Yeah.
Breathe a little deeper, let it go. And when we see it and we adjust it, and you hope that they go home and practice it because they had those little tips, because we were able to see it.
Right. And I think that was, the biggest benefit. And also I find, certainly for meditation and stuff, which, I mean, yoga, there's an aspect of that, right? Which is the breathing, a meditative aspect. When you're in a group, even if it's an online group, you create that energetic space for people, right? So you're kind of holding that space for each other. So the class creates that, in a sense. Would you
It's a
find
great vibe. Absolutely. And it's a great vibe because, it's not a competition.
Yeah.
It is not a competition. If I can't do a headstand, doesn't matter. If I can't stand in those beautiful postures the way you're standing in it, it doesn't matter. You do it what comfort allows. That's it.
And I've been in a couple of your classes, and you're very clear about that. That this is not about what she's doing, he's doing. It's about you, right?
All about you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Karen, so this kind of leads to some of your stuff too, because you do yoga.
Yes.
And you also do the breathing and relaxation stuff. So what are some of the benefits of somebody, doing those kinds of practices with you in your personal practice, as opposed to like doing it even live on Zoom, instead of just doing meditation videos and whatnot?
There's the benefit of that in-person connection. Even if it's you and one other person, you can feel that energy that's radiating from the group of two or more. And what I do now is not any traditional Western medicine, as I am a retired obstetrician gynecologist. What I do now is that energy transformational well-beingness that comes from that internal energy, that internal process, that we are really a blueprint of, we all have, most of us, two eyes, one nose, two ears, two arms, two legs, what have you. That's our blueprint. But we have that ability to shift that with that breathing, that meditation, that finding that calm, quiet within, even though when there's chaos around. It's not getting into a bubble bath and drinking a glass of wine to relax. It's despite the chaos that's going on around you, can you find that 1 or 2 moments of stillness? And it doesn't need to be an hour-long practice. If you can just, when you go to the bathroom and wash your hands, just take that deep breath in and hold as you're washing the soap on. Do another one, and then the third one to rinse, fourth one to dry, and then one more before you leave. Oh my gosh, I've done 5 of those amazing breaths and I just went to the bathroom. So every time you go to the bathroom, you can find that within stillness so that you can calm the mind, calm the body, which improves 100 different pieces of your well-being. It slows the heart rate, it lowers the blood pressure, it relieves tension in the body. When there's tension released in the body, you can move easier, you can have more focus and attention and concentration. There's been studies with even brief mindfulness and meditation in all sorts of populations, including children with anxiety, ADHD, on the autism spectrum. And when you see the benefits in these kids, as well as all sorts of other people, from brief, even if it's only a few minutes of meditative mindfulness, that the benefit just can last longer and greater. So it's a practice, like the breath, finding that balance within. And that's what I love to help people create, using that in the moment. We have a choice. We get to choose the thought of, I don't have time to do this, or I'm going to take 10 seconds and have one better breath. That's a choice.
And I've found for myself anyway, when I do the deep breathing, it helps me to come back into that body, right? I think we're all in the same boat. We tend to spend a lot of time kind of, in the upper realms. And I know when I do the deep breathing and really focus on bringing that consciousness down into the root and the sacral, it really brings me down into the physical body so that we can check in, right?
Yes.
So what kind of practices do you guys do physically, like for the physical body on a daily basis? For me, I make sure I get my water in, go for a walk, conscious of how much sleep I'm getting and rest and stuff. Not always good at that, mind you, but I'm conscious of it. Trying to eat as clean as you can, but none of us are perfect at that, right? I mean, and we need to be forgiving of ourselves as well. This
Absolutely.
is, it's one area I think that society has really, it feels as though there's a lot of shame and guilt around food in our society, and it's meant to nourish. But when we carry all this shame and guilt from media, from peer pressure and all of that, I think we lose some of that benefit of the nourishment of food itself.
You can lose a lot of that benefit from the nourishment when you don't have the mindset with it. You can eat clean, you can exercise, you can never have had alcohol and cigarettes. And I saw when I was in training, people with a wellness practice that became ill. And why is that? I mentioned it earlier. You are only one thought away from turning a negative in your life into a positive. So making that connection. So take your baby steps, one piece at a time.
Exactly. So what kind of practices do you do daily then, Karen, for your physical well-being?
Thank you, Tanis. I call it my powerful morning practice. So I start off with my breaths. Actually, the very first thing I do when I'm realizing that, I'm waking up, I send out generative gratitude. So I'm grateful to my God, the universe, that life source, power that be, that I woke up today, because not everybody gets to do that. And I'm thankful for what I'm going to receive today, and listing off what I would love to receive, even though I haven't seen it in the physical form, because I'm welcoming it in. When I'm doing that, I follow with my breath. I do my breaths before I even get out of bed. So when I do my 5th or 6th of this rule of 5 breaths, that in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, and hold out for 5, I do a set of 5 of those breaths. And then I do this great big nice cat stretch that you can do in a yoga class, because it's like getting up from a shavasana. And I don't jump out of bed. I roll onto one side, and I still take 2 more breaths in there, because I'm transitioning. I want my transitions to be gentle. I want, that gentleness in my body and in my life. So I welcome that first thing in the morning. And so that's a minute or 2 before I even get out of bed. There's the lots of water. Absolutely. And I do my best to drink most of my water in the morning so that I'm not up at night. So like you said, maintaining that sleep practice. And then I follow that with an exercise. depending on the day and how I'm feeling, it's a little exercise. It could be only 10 or 15 minutes. Sometimes it's a 30-minute. If the weather's good here and it's not raining, I'm out walking around Signal Hill. So that's a good 45, 50 minutes, up and down and up. It's up both ways, no matter which way I go. And there's meditation in that for me, because if I'm getting outside, I have my mindfulness with my walk. There's no earbuds in. I am listening to the beautiful sound of the seagulls, the breeze, the rustling of the water, the waves. At a couple of points, you can hear more of that water waves crashing against, with that surf against the rocks. Sometimes I see the eagle come around. There's mornings where I see the fox. So that's my meditation. If it's not, then I'm in a seated meditation for 20 to 30 minutes so that I can build myself up for the day. And then I work with my vision. So I have a vision of my dream life, what that would be like 3 years out. So oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. Limitations don't come into place. That I lean into that, oh, how wonderful it is to get up, me 3 years from now, how lean and limber and agile and strong I am. So all the approach goals, and how amazing that I am the CEO of my 7-figure coaching business, and the number of women I'm serving with however many now programs I've extended that to. And oh yes, little smell of coffee, and that tall, handsome dude has made that amazing breakfast and coffee for me and kisses me on the cheek. And well, you can bypass to other things depending on how, delighted I am with my vision and how much time I have for it that morning. And or we're going out for a walk and whatever else we're doing. And just I get a lovely telephone call from my daughter, and my son sends me a text. So the relationship stuff, that we're in our dream home, and packing to go on holiday tomorrow. And how wonderful it is, because we're going to Spain and Portugal for 4 fabulous weeks. And so I lean into my vision work and I bring that in so I can embody that, because what I would love to be, do, and have is on a different frequency. If I can think it up, it's there.
And physically, that is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
creating that vibration in our physical bodies from
Yes.
our thoughts, and that's the connection there, right?
Well, we just like our cell phone. We are the perfect receptor. We are the receptor of receiving as well as generating. So my thoughts that I make, as Gary had mentioned earlier, become my feelings and emotions, whether you also use flower essences, essential oils, and other practices to help you with that. And those feelings and emotions become your actions, and those actions become your results. And you can't change that. That flow happens.
It does, yeah. So it all affects the physical as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Gary, what kind of activities do you do that enhance your physical well-being on a daily basis? What kind of things are you aware of in your routine?
I think I'll escape with Karen and go to Spain and Portugal and Ibiza.
Sounds good to me.
But I want to build on some other things that she said too, that time in nature is actually a prescription of the medical field in Japan. And they will prescribe going out, and they talk about a nature bath. So you spend so much time in nature alone, like she said, without the earbuds, but communing with nature. And there is a emotional and, I believe, energetic spiritual healing, which translates into physical healing than when we spend time in nature. So if the weather doesn't allow, then I'll do some meditation. And often I do mantras. So mantras don't have to be like an hour long or something. But again, it's calming the mind to build the well-being in the physical body. So mantras could be something simple like Om, if you're familiar with that, or just saying the word love and drawing it out, repeating it, saying love in your mind. So it gives your mind something to do to calm down, and then start creating a different, we talked about the parasympathetic response and working with the vagus nerve. So it starts to calm that reaction. So once you learn that pattern and that response, then you can repeat that during the day of, oh my gosh, everything's going wrong, the computer's broken and my phone's ringing and blah, 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 blah. Oh, and just relax for a few seconds, and you've learned that that pattern, that response, which again helps your physical health by reducing stress and coming back into the moment.
Because of course we want to make sure that the stress level is not too high, because it puts us at risk for a bunch of other things, right? So Jacqueline, what kind of stuff do you do in your physical? I know probably yoga is a big part of it for you. What kind of stuff do you do?
And I was actually going to say all of the above, both
Yeah.
Gary and Karen. Thank you so much. And it's great to hear that so many people are doing these sorts of things to let go what's the drama that's going on in your mind. We are visualizing what we want that future to be and look like. We can sense it and smell it. What I do is when before I go to sleep at night, I write down 5 wonderful things that have happened to me in the course of my day. I'd rather go to sleep knowing that good things happen, like, I don't know, washing my dishes. That's a great thing to happen. Then I get up in the morning and you can do, because I do yoga, you can do yoga, the sun salutation, lying down in bed. So your mountain is actually you lying down in your Siddhasana. And you can do all of the postures that you would do standing, lying down in bed before you get up and begin your day. And you breathe through it and you release and you allow. Then I get up and I will do a standing salutation because, wait, I already did it in bed. I only have 107 more to do. And then you say, not today, Jacqueline. We'll do 6 more. And we'll follow a journey, knowing that we saluted the day.
Beautiful.
And that's what I'll do to start my day.
Beautiful. We have a comment here from Michelle, who's also one of our awesome teachers. She does mantras every day too. Yeah. And she also does her yoga practice and all of that. So thank you for sharing, Michelle. That's awesome. And Ruth, what do you do for the physical body every day?
I can relate to what everybody said. It's so awesome. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm one of those, I don't want to wake up. I used to jump out of bed. I can't do that anymore. So I will start with my deep breaths, and I will also start doing exercises in bed. So you start with the stretch and the legs, because my legs take a while to wake up. So, I do leg raises and stuff. And then I get up, and I don't know how many breaths I do. I just do, the take in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5. And the scientific reason for that is so that the oxygen gets to the bloodstream fast enough and it gets to your brain, so your brain starts activating as well. I was taught that by an EMS, emergency medical person, was just amazing. Anyway, so and I also walk at least an hour a day, sometimes 2. But I will get up and go. I pretend like I'm commuting since I work from home. I will get up and commute to work after my shower and getting dressed and all that stuff. And feeding the cat, of course. And then I'll go for my walk, which is my commute to work. And then I come back and I do my stuff, and then I'll, yeah. And at lunch, I'll do the same thing also. But I'm now working on breathing. Like when I find myself getting really stressed out, I will do the breathing because it's very important. And
Yeah, for sure.
And essential oils, of course. When I get too stressed, nifty little inhaler. It's not a tampon. Anyway, so
glad to hear that.
I just had yeah. Anyway, so yeah,
awesome.
comic. So Yeah.
So the other thing for me is conscious showering. I know this sounds, it's personal,
yes.
but conscious showering, right? When you consciously, like, I am rinsing off what
Yes.
I don't need, right? I find that really helps. And I actually use essential oil products in the shower because, of course, essential oils help to raise your vibration. So that's my other one that nobody's mentioned. I do all those other things too, but
Well,
doing
the
the
conscious showering is like showering focus love on yourself rather than just moving through absentmindedly through whatever you're doing. It's just super fantastic.
hmm
Great
and
job.
sitting in a bath
Yes.
also,
That's,
right? It's, and having salt in there, like us empaths, we need the Himalayan rose salt because that helps us to balance all those minerals and stuff that we tend to use a lot of as empaths. So awesome. And Jacqueline, what other kind of practices? I feel like there was a piece there that you still wanted to bring forward in terms of the physical practices.
Aside from doing my 108 salutations, that would only take about 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It's about knowing every single day we are doing yoga as we walk and we take a breath and we take our navel to spine. That's a little bit of ab work, and you didn't even know that you were doing some ab work as you're walking. When you stop and allow the legs just to sink in and your hands are behind your back, that's a yoga posture. We're doing yoga every single day. And then when you're sitting down at your table and you think, I have so many things to do, you interlace your fingers, index finger comes up, and you say, I got this. There's tiny things that we do that we have no idea is yogic in nature, allowing us to just be who we are at that moment in time.
And you don't have to be like totally physically fit to do yoga. I think that's a bit of a myth as well, right?
yes.
That people need to be in good shape to start doing
It
yoga.
is.
So I think anybody can really
Interesting.
sort of
I
step.
began yoga. I didn't do yoga because I thought I needed to be a size 2. And that's not true. I'm not a size 2, and I love my yoga. You name the size, you name the shape, you name the color. It doesn't matter because yoga is for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
No judgment here. Yeah.
And Karen, you had something else that you wanted to add.
Yes, I have another practice that I add in that no one else has mentioned to date as well, and that is reading from something that fills my soul. So I do a lot of reading. I have 8 bookshelves of books. They're not all personal development. I do love historical romance. That would be more of a bedtime reading. But in the morning, I would read 10, 15 minutes. Maybe it's a page and I read it 2 or 3 times. If I'm walking, maybe it's in the car to and from, a book that is going to give me something. I'm going to learn something new. It's going to raise my vibration. So I have some really go-to books. The Big Leap, Think and Grow Rich with Wallace Wattles, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I mean, I could list off 100 books that I have on my shelves that I've gone through and back again that help with that. But that does make a difference. So something that would be great for you, anything to start to read, something that just is interesting to you. Maybe it's, a craft, something that you'd like to learn how to do, and you're going to take 10 minutes. Yes, you're not going to be able to do a project with that, but you're going to learn a piece of that, and it's going to light your soul and fill you up with that positive vibe for the day, because like, oh, I got something new out of that, and so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and just as an aside, she's not actually reading a book in the car driving.
No, it's an audiobook. Yeah.
I just want to make sure nobody tries to do that. Please don't do that. Okay. The other thing that's great for brain health is doing like word puzzles and stuff. So that's another thing I do a lot of. I often will be having my breakfast and I'll be doing a crossword or something because it's good for your brain health. So, when we're talking about doing books and stuff, that's also an aspect that you're working on in terms of the physical, right?
Stimulates both sides of your brain, back and forth and back. The reading, the writing, journaling is another piece. Just writing, whether it's gratitude or just whatever thoughts come, or just maybe you have affirmations or mantras. Gary says them. Some people, I have some things that I write down. I'm working now with the Louise Hay book, and there's exercises there. And at the start or at the end of the chapter, she has a statement, and I say it 5 times, and then I write it once because I want even further connection deep into my brain, deep into my energy field, so that I can fill my body up with that light and love.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask all of you this question now. What's one thing you would tell your client to do? And the physical stuff, because we're actually going to be doing another hour after this on the other link for the mental emotional part of things, emotional well-being. But what's one physical practice you would recommend to your clients that come to you on a regular basis? Karen?
I've said the breath, but I'll add the second thing is water. Absolutely water. And the other piece with the water is do not salt restrict. So you don't need to drink bottled water. Tap water is great because there's all sorts of other elements and minerals in that to help fill your body up with what your body needs. So some water.
And you can add some crystals to that. Watch which crystals. Please look them up. They are not all healthy in water, but there are some great ones that you can use in water as well. Awesome.
Exactly.
And Jacqueline, what's one thing you would tell your clients physically?
Foot soak. I love a great foot soak, and Ruth will tell you what oils to put in there, and Dennis will tell you what stones you can put in there, what gemstones. I love a good foot soak after a long day.
Himalayan salt.
Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. Absolutely. And Gary, what's one thing you would tell them?
Well, it's part of what I already said. It's the exercise of walking. That walking is a good overall exercise, and if you do it in nature, then you're working with the emotional and the spiritual as well. So don't be afraid of changes in temperature as long as it's not super, super cold or super, super hot. But get out and walk and move, and that will help you physically and change emotions as well.
Beautiful. And Ruth?
All of the above. And also get sleep. And I get not enough, but I do work between 6 and 7 hours, which I was told was good. They say between 6 and 8 hours is good. So yay. And but also with foot baths or baths, if you're using essential oils, always, again, because it's coming in contact with your skin, always mix it with unscented soap. I use Castile soap, which is a natural type of soap, and it's unscented. This is Dr. Bronner's, but any Castile soap or natural soap will work. So just add your essential oils, 5 drops tops, in the Castile soap, mix it up, and then add it to your bath water. Because again, if you don't add it to the Castile soap, they will float on top and they will come in contact with your skin, and you can have reactions to that. And don't put peppermint, again, don't put peppermint in your bath because it can cause hypothermia, and it's also very strong. If you put too much in, it comes in contact with stuff it shouldn't come in contact with, and not a good thing. Again, mucous membranes, right? So that's my little plug for the essential oil thing. But definitely foot soaks, and if you don't have a bathtub, use in the shower, use a little basin for your feet and stand in that, and that way your whole body gets the oils as well. So, or the oils,
Awesome.
the water, and the soaking. Yes. Anyway, I'm babbling. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I'm finished.
Good.
I'm finished.
So we are coming to the end of our time. And so what I'd like to do just quickly, just tell us your name and your website where people can find you quickly. Okay, so Karen?
Hi, thanks, Tanis. I'm on Facebook, Karen Stillman, as well as the website is going live, I think, later the weekend, is www.babymakinggenius.com for those women who are looking to have those babies.
Beautiful. And Jacqueline?
Great. I'm Yoga for Your Personal Finances on Facebook, and my website, www.wealthy-yogini.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And Ruth, you have a comment from Ramsey. So thank you, Ruth. That was informative. So just
Thanks, Ramsey.
heads up. And Ramsey is one of our awesome teachers as well with the Twillow Lifestyle Academy. And Gary, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Gary Chatham MA, and also GaryChatham.com. Easy way to find me.
Awesome. Thank you. And Ruth, where can we find you?
I am at My Health and Wellness, so it's www.myhealthandwellnesscorner.com. And also I have a Facebook group, which is Essential Truths About Oils Demythified. So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's.
And they can get that through your name, right? On Facebook?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing all of your beautiful tips for the physical well-being aspect of self. And thank you all for watching and joining us. And please join us in just a few moments. We're going on to another link, and we'll be talking all about emotional wellness. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks, Dennis.